Ladies and gentlemen, life is not just about what we say, it's about what we show. The world speaks a language that transcends words. Before your voice is heard, your body already speaks volumes. Before your story is told, your presence has already made an impact. That is the unspoken power of body language. But what happens when our bodies send messages we never intended? What happens when the way we carry ourselves builds walls instead of bridges? There are silent habits, small gestures, unconscious movements that can push people away, even when our hearts mean no harm. This speech isn't about changing who you are. It's about becoming aware. Because once you become aware, you become empowered. And when you are empowered, you change not only how people see you, but how you see yourself. Today, I want to share with you 4 powerful body language habits that, if left unchecked, can create distance between you and the world. But remember, every habit can be unlearned, and every mistake can be rewritten with intention and love. The crossed arms, the shield that blocks connection. It begins so subtly. We fold our arms across our chests, thinking nothing of it. Maybe we're cold. Maybe we're uncomfortable. Maybe we're just used to doing it. But what we don't realize is that in that single act, we are shielding our hearts from the world, closing off not only our bodies, but also our souls. We forget that the body is always speaking, even when the mouth is silent. And when our arms cross tightly in front of us, it often whispers stories of discomfort, of distrust, of withdrawal. It tells the world we don't want to engage, even if that's not what we truly mean. In our deepest moments of fear, this posture becomes a comfort blanket. We pull our energy inward, as if to protect the most fragile parts of us. It becomes a coping mechanism, a habit formed through past wounds, invisible scars, and silent disappointments. But here's the thing, when we build a wall to keep hurt away, we often end up keeping love out too. People feel the barrier, they don't understand its origin, but they sense its presence. They might walk away not because they dislike us, but because they feel uninvited. The tragedy is that many who fold their arms are the ones who crave connection the most. Yet, their body speaks the opposite. It's not their intention, but intention and perception don't always align. And in a world driven by nonverbal cues, perception often wins. When a person sees someone with crossed arms during a conversation, the mind interprets it as resistance, as judgment, as unwillingness to open up. And so dialogue becomes difficult, relationships strain, trust doesn't blossom. But it's not about forcefully opening your arms. It's about gently unfolding yourself from within. It's about making peace with the world enough to let your guard down. It's about reminding yourself that safety does not always come from armor, but from authenticity. Open body language is not just about posture. It's about permission. It's about giving people the chance to see who you really are, beyond the fears, beyond the traumas, beyond the cautious exterior. It's a spiritual unwrapping of the self. It's telling your soul that it's okay to show up and be seen, not as perfect, but as present. The unfurling of your arms becomes a sacred, Gesturian invitation to connection, to warmth, to understanding. And when you do that, something beautiful happens. The tension begins to dissolve, the atmosphere shifts, you find people leaning in instead of backing away. You witness softer conversations, deeper exchanges, and moments that feel like healing. The world does not need you to be bold or brilliant all the time, but it does need you to be real. And that realness often begins with the simple decision to be physically and emotionally open. You might find that as your arms uncross, so does your heart. As your posture shifts, so does your energy. As your energy opens, so do the doors to trust, collaboration, and compassion. Because what the world truly longs for is presence, not performance, not perfection, just presence. And your body, when aligned with your truth, becomes a beacon that draws others toward your light. In moments when fear tempts you to fold inward, remember this: connection is not a reward. It is a right. And your willingness to receive it starts with the language your body chooses to speak, avoiding eye contact, the silent message of disconnection. There is a sacred power in the human gaze. Eyes have the ability to say what lips cannot. They are vessels of truth, of emotion, of soul-deep acknowledgement. And when we avert our eyes from another, we don't just break visual contact, we break emotional connection. Avoiding eye contact isn't always rooted in arrogance or deceit. Often, it's a reflection of fear, insecurity, or self-doubt. It's the inner voice that whispers, if they look too closely, they'll see I'm not enough. It's that quiet resistance to being seen too deeply. In those moments, we hide not out of cruelty, but out of survival. We think that if we retreat behind our gaze, we can protect ourselves. But what we protect ourselves from, we also cut ourselves off from. The tragedy of it is this: people interpret what they see, not what we feel. And when our eyes dart away or fixate on the floor, others often feel dismissed. They sense we're not listening. They wonder if they matter. They begin to question their place in the moment. One of the deepest human needs is to feel seen. And eye contact, gentle, sincere, non-invasive, can satisfy that need in an instant. It says, I see you. It says, you are worth my attention. It says, I'm here with you now. When we avoid that opportunity, we miss the chance to build bridges, to let our spirit reach out and touch another's bridges, to remind someone that even in a fleeting exchange, they are not invisible. Eye contact does not mean staring. It does not mean dominance. It means connection. It means presence. It means showing up with your full self, not just with words, but with soul. There is beauty in being still enough to hold someone's gaze without fear. There is healing in looking into another's eyes and allowing your own pain, your own strength, your own truth to be seen. It's an act of bravery. To look someone in the eye and say without words, I'm not perfect, but I'm here. I may be scared, but I'm showing up. I may be uncertain, but I'm choosing connection. In a world so distracted, the simple act of maintaining gentle eye contact can feel revolutionary. It disrupts the pattern of avoidance and demands attention to the moment. When you begin to look people in the eyes, you'll notice they soften, they open, they begin to trust you, not because of what you said, but because of how you made them feel. And over time, as you practice this sacred stillness, you will not only see others more clearly, you will begin to see yourself more clearly too. You'll realize that you deserve to take up space. You deserve to be seen. Let your eyes reflect your inner strength. Let them mirror your sincerity. Let them hold the weight of your story, not as a burden, but as a beautiful testament of who you are. The gaze you offer someone may become the only moment they feel truly acknowledged that day. Let it be full of kindness. Let it be full of truth. Let it be full of grace. Fidgeting, the unspoken language of unease, there's a language that trembles through our fingers, shifts in our feet, and moves through restless hands. It's a language that doesn't use words, but it speaks volumes. And often it speaks of discomfort, anxiety, and an inability to be still in the presence of ourselves or others. Fidgeting is one of those habits we hardly notice in ourselves. We tap our pen, we bounce our knee, we twist our rings, or adjust our sleeves endlessly. And while it seems harmless, the message it sends can be deeply unsettling to those around us. People interpret fidgeting as a sign of distraction, of disinterest, of someone who is too nervous to engage or too impatient to listen. It signals that the person in front of you isn't enough to hold your attention. And that hurts, even when you don't mean it that way. What's often hidden behind fidgeting is a deeper story. It could be trauma. It could be fear. It could be a subconscious attempt to manage emotions that haven't yet found words. But none of that is visible to the person sitting across from you. All they feel is distance. Fidgeting becomes the physical manifestation of emotional chaos. It tells others that your mind is somewhere else, that your presence is fragmented. And in a world craving presence, that fragmentation becomes a wall. Stillness, on the other hand, is sacred. It is an offering. It is saying, this moment matters enough for me to be here fully. And that doesn't require perfection, it just requires presence. Stillness doesn't mean you've conquered all anxiety. It means you've decided not to let anxiety steer the moment. It's about learning to be with your discomfort long enough to understand it, to comfort it, to soothe it from within. People are drawn to those who are grounded not because they have all the answers, but because they radiate calm. And calm is not born from absence of fear, but from the ability to be anchored in spite of it. When you start noticing your own fidgeting, don't shame yourself. Instead, get curious. Ask yourself, what am I running from in this moment? You'll often find that what you're running from is not outside you, it's within you. And when you begin the journey of healing what's within, you'll find your body starts to respond. Your hands rest more gently. Your posture softens. Your eyes linger longer. And people around you begin to feel safer, calmer, more seen. Stillness creates trust. It says to the person in front of you, I'm not trying to escape this moment. I'm choosing to be here with you. And in a world full of distractions, that choice becomes deeply magnetic. Your energy, when it stops darting in every direction, becomes focused, intentional, and powerful. You begin to notice things you missed before. You hear not just the words spoken, but the emotion behind them. You begin to connect, and in that stillness, you discover something profound. That the most captivating people are not the loudest, the fastest, or the most animated. They are the ones who are present, the ones who make you feel like nothing else matters in that moment. So be still not to impress others, but to reconnect with yourself. And from that sacred center, let every movement, every breath, every gesture reflect the truth that you are enough exactly as you are, without the need to fidget away your presence. Overpowering posture, the energy that dominates, not connects. There's a fine line between confidence and dominance, and often the body crosses that line long before the words ever do. When someone enters a room with shoulders stiff, chest puffed, chin tilted too high, they may believe they are communicating strength, but what many perceive is intimidation. Overpowering posture is more than just a stance. It's a silent assertion of control, a way of occupying space that says, I must be the most important presence here. And in doing so, it often alienates more than it attracts. People don't remember how tall you stood, they remember how you made them feel. And when your posture takes up space without offering space, it suffocates connection. It places you above rather than beside. It says, look at me, instead of, let's be here together. This kind of posture isn't always born from arrogance. Sometimes it's born from insecurity dressed as power. It's the armor of someone who fears being overlooked, who believes they must physically dominate the room to be taken seriously. But true strength does not shout. It does not need to tower. It does not demand submission. True strength invites. It listens. It softens without weakening. It makes space for others without shrinking. When you lower your shoulders, when you ground your feet, when you allow your spine to align not with power but with presence, you begin to shift the energy around you. You begin to welcome people in rather than push them away. Your body becomes not a billboard of ego, but a sanctuary of safety, a place where others feel welcomed, not judged, where they can let their guard down because yours isn't up. People are drawn to humility in physical form. The posture that says, I am confident in myself and I don't need to prove it by taking up all the air in the room. That's the kind of presence that creates impact. And when you check in with your body, when you gently release the tension in your shoulders, when you relax your jaw, when you stop trying to perform strength and start embodying grace, you'll find that people respond differently. They open up. They lean in. They stop feeling the need to defend themselves because your presence has made the space safe. Not small, not diminished, just safe. And in that safety, real connection is born. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is step back, not to disappear, but to allow others to step forward too. That's what true leaders do. That's what real connectors embody. Your body, when it moves from dominance to dignity, becomes a magnet for trust. People feel honored, not overwhelmed. They feel heard, not belittled. They feel seen, not sized up. So next time you enter a room, ask yourself not, how do I look strong, but how do I make others feel safe? Because the real strength is in creating space for others to shine too. And when your posture aligns with that intention, you no longer just stand tall, you rise in a way that uplifts everyone around you. Because true power is not how loudly you show up, but how deeply others feel seen when you do, the silent story your body tells. Every day, whether we realize it or not, we are telling a story. Not with our words, but with the way we walk into a room, the way we hold someone's gazier, avoid it. With every crossed arm, every restless twitch, every overbearing posture, we are painting a picture of how we feel inside. And that picture speaks louder than anything we say out loud. When people pull away, when they turn cold or uncomfortable, it's not always because of who we are, it's often because of what our body unintentionally whispers to them. And in those whispers, others hear things like fear, dismissal, disconnection, or domination. But here's the truth. We are not stuck with these habits. We are not bound to the body language we once used for survival. Every gesture can be rewritten. Every posture can become a new message. A message of presence. A message of grace. A message that says, I see you and I want to connect. Eye contact can stop being a wall and become a bridge. Crossed arms can unfold into an invitation. Fidgeting can settle into stillness. An overpowering posture can soften into grounded, open strength. This isn't about pretending. It's not about learning to perform likability. It's about aligning the way we show up physically with the kind of soul we truly are: compassionate, open, humble, connected. When that alignment happens, we don't need to chase acceptance. We become it. The world is full of noise. But people don't crave noise. They crave authenticity. They crave presence. They crave connection. And sometimes all it takes to be liked, trusted, and understood is to let your body speak gently what your heart already knows. Because your body isn't just a vessel, it's a voice. And when it learns to speak with kindness, with openness, with dignity, people don't just like you. They feel safe with you. They feel seen by you. And in that safety, something sacred begins to grow. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aware. Aware of how you enter a space, how you hold space, how you share space. Because in the end, body language isn't about impressing others, it's about honoring them and honoring yourself too. Let your presence be a gift, not a performance. Let your silence be warm, not cold. Let your movements invite, not intimidate. And in doing so, you will not only change how people feel about you, you will change how they feel about themselves when they're around you. And that, more than anything else, is the kind of power worth carrying.